Hello everybody, good evening. Welcome to the United Stands. I'm Mark Goldbridge and this is your latest breaking Manchester United transfer news. Lots to get into. Garnacho price set. Rashford in talks today with Barcelona and updates around Dorgu as Manchester United feel the squeeze at both sides. I mean, look, in essence, what we've got for you tonight is Man United lowering the price for Garnacho as Lecce stand firm on a high price for Dorgu. So Dorgu's price is going up. Garnacho's price is going down. It's not going to be long before basically we're paying for Dorgu what we're getting for Garnacho, which I find absolutely incredible. I think that the best place to start with this is that earlier tonight, Chris Wheeler in the Daily Mail said that Manchester United are demanding £75 million to sell Garnacho this month. Which, as far as I'm concerned, is about bloody right. In January, you shouldn't be selling on the cheap, and £75 million for a 20-year-old who's an Argentinian international, an exciting attacking talent with potential to be a lot more, I think £75 million is right. But in the last few minutes, Marzio has said that Manchester United have lowered their price for Garnacho from 75 million euros to 65 million euros. Napoli are stuck at around 50 to 55 million euros, but the distance between the parties has thinned, and the feeling is the transfer could be closed if Napoli reach 60 million euros. 60 million euros is less than 55 million pounds. I'll say it again. If anybody anywhere believes that Man United are not Everton and not desperate for money, then there is Exhibit A. This is absolutely incredible. It's absolutely incredible. And look, I think some of our fans get lost here because they don't like Garnacho. I think Rashford should go. But there was a time when Marcus Rashford was worth, in my eyes, 80 million easy. At the moment, yeah, he's probably worth about 40 because of what's gone on. Age, last couple of years, wage, etc. You can't undervalue a player just because you don't bloody like them. The market dictates the value of a player. We paid £55 million for Mason Mount with 1 year left on his contract. Albert, he's homegrown. So's fucking Garnacho. We paid £50 million for Yoro at 18, who's barely played for Lille. £50 million, which is nearly 60 million euros. This deal is... And also, Garnacho has actually proved himself in the Premier League and in Europe. He's been playing in the Premier League for the last 2 years. It is an absolute disgrace to be selling cheap in January a player like that. An absolute joke. And I don't really care if you don't like Garnacho. I don't really care because I'll sit here and say I think he's got the highest ceiling out of everybody in our squad. And I believe that. But, that's an opinion, your opinion. The point is, it doesn't matter whether you rate or hate. The value we're putting on him is an absolute joke. And it ridicules, it absolutely ridicules this stance that some morons have that it's Garnacho forcing the move and United are reluctant sellers. If United are reluctant sellers, why are they lowering the price? You set it at 75 million. Napoli can't pay it. End of story. What are we doing? Oh, you can't afford that. A little bit less. You still can't afford that. A little bit less. We're literally lowering the price. We are an absolute banter. We are a banter club. I'm telling you now, and I've always said it, anything less than 70 million pounds, and we have been mugged off and exposed to the world just how bad the situation is at United. It really is. So yeah, price set on Garnacho, but take your pick on where it's going to be. It's shameful, really. It really, really is. Also coming out tonight, we're going to be talking about Marcus Rashford. He's had talks. His representatives have had talks with Barcelona today. We'll discuss that. And also coming in the last few minutes, Dorgu, Lecce suddenly deciding that they want a ridiculous price of 40 million euros for a 20-year-old who's barely played. Absolutely incredible. But you know what? It's a frustrating time. It's frustrating. Even Derek is shocked by what we're trying to do with Garnacho. Look, he can't believe it. He cannot believe it. But Baitface says, what the hell has this beautiful historical club become? Ineos have done nothing but become a public scapegoat for the Glazers. Get rid of them all. And remember, this is on the day that we are now cutting costs even more with United legends such as Dennis Irwin, Brian Robson and Andy Cole, who are ambassadors for the club and have been for years. They're now getting their role and wage cut today as well. Everywhere you look, it's terrifying. It's cut, cut, cut. We should be sponsored by Elastoplast. You know, the plasters, because it's cut, 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 cut. We should be sponsored by Freddy Krueger. It's incredible. It's absolutely incredible. And look, if a player needs to be sold, a player needs to be sold. But you don't do it undervalue. You don't do it. It's amateur hour. It really is. And I tell you what this is to me. Everything Ineos, Glinios, the Glazers are doing, I feel like it's what the Glazers have wanted to do for 20 years but didn't dare do. And now they've got somebody that can front it up for them. Hired assassins, I would call them, because raising ticket prices, cutting money to charities, letting Old Trafford rot, getting rid of ambassadors and legends like Sir Alex Ferguson, selling decent young assets under price. It's just incredible what we've done in the last few weeks and months. And I can't believe people are putting up with it. I just don't think people have, I don't think the people in power, I don't think the people with the power, these fan groups, I don't think they've got the appetite, or I don't think they can do anything about it. Or, I don't know, they're in conversations with people at the club. I don't know what's going on. But there doesn't seem to be much. I mean, at the end of the day, if this United fan base is a lion ready to wake up and devour these owners, we are being poked and no lion is waking up. You know, it's a very, very sad state. And I mean, what's probably happening is that if you shit on somebody long enough, they'll just get used to the smell. And I think that's what's happened. I think the fan base is just on its knees and has given up because there's nothing happening. Nobody's talking about protests. Nobody's talking about, you know, there's all sorts that could be done. There's all sorts that could be done, but nobody's looking to do it. They're just looking to bleed us dry. I mean, as I said 2 weeks ago, we've got the new Anana kit coming out. I mean, can I just overemphasize a little bit how that is an example of how useless we are as a fan base. So the club's on its knees. We're in the bottom half of the table. We're in massive debt. The Glazers are still here. We're cutting costs. We're putting young players up for sale. You know, really, if this was a certain club in Europe or Liverpool, there'd be protests. There'd be all sorts going on. Man United, on top of that, re-release the nice-looking goalkeeper kit that's worn by a crap goalkeeper, and everyone goes mad to buy it. I mean, they must sit there every night, the Glazers, and go, oh my God, I just can't believe what we get away with. Let's do something else. Just put a new kit out at the same time. It is savage what they get away with. But, you know, you reap what you sow, and unfortunately, this is Man United's fan base, and we all have to take our medicine. We're all part of it. We're all part of everything. Nobody's to blame apart from the collective. It's an absolute shit show at the moment. It really, really is. Mario Franco says, we are selling arguably our best player for peanuts and buying overpriced youngsters in January. Woodward looking nice now makes me want to puke, says Mario Franco. When we wanted to buy Branthwaite in the summer, Everton asked 75. I mean, this for me, this is comment of the evening already. Tibor says, Everton wanted £75 million. How the hell is he worth more than Garnacho? Wolves want £41 million for Altnori. I would buy back Alvaro Fernandez. This is exactly what I'm talking about. We paid £55 million for Mason Mount with a year left on his contract, and he's injury prone in his mid-20s, and we're selling a 20-year-old for less. Branthwaite, Everton, they wanted £75 million. We offered £50 million. They still said no. We're selling Garnacho for less. And they're all homegrown. So I can't believe that people who don't like Garnacho still can't screw their head on and realise whether you like him or not, he's easily worth in excess of £65, £70 million. Easily. The market dictates it. Easily. And if I have to explain it again, because I did it with Mainu, he's 20. He's 20. He's a good player. He's proven that. I'm not saying he's world class, but he's a good player. He's 20. Napoli will be playing it cool, but behind closed doors, they'll be rubbing their bloody hands together. This for Napoli is an absolute dream ticket. You get Garnacho, who will be good in that league for 5 years. It's an instant replacement for Kvaratskhelia. They'll hardly notice it. He'll come in, he'll do a job, he'll score goals, he'll create goals, right? So they've got an instant replacement for £50 million, which is basically what they've just got from PSG, a bit less. And in 5 years' time, they can sell him back to the Premier League or to Real Madrid or to Barcelona, and they will get more than they paid. It's when you buy 20-year-olds, you've got to be selling them for 100 million, because the club that gets them for 50 will get 5 years worth out of them, and then they'll get their money back and more. Financially, this is amazing for Napoli. Absolutely amazing. Why are we doing it? Because we're bloody desperate. We are so desperate for money, we're selling undervalued players that we shouldn't be selling. But I said that about Mainu. If I was selling Mainu, he wouldn't go for anything less than 100 million. Not because he's worth it, but because I know the next 10, 15 years, the club that buys him are going to get value out of him. I mean, look, if you buy Mainu for £100 million and you keep him for 10 years, he's cost you 10 million a year. You know. I thought the clowns had left the circus, but we just replaced them with more. Disgraceful, says Ginger Red. I'm excited and depressed at the same time, says Flash Talks. How on earth are Napoli begging us to lower the fee, says Advet. Saddens me, says Jay. I believe I love Garnacho more than you, but I woke up and realised I'm blind. He's not good enough. He has the most potential, shows how bad we are, says Sully. It's got nothing to do with the player, mate. I couldn't give a shit whether you like the player, whether you're in love with the player. That's not what we're talking about here. I'm talking about the business decision. It's embarrassing, it's disgraceful, it's disturbing to keep lowering the price on a player where you should be saying the price is 75 million, it doesn't move. You don't keep lowering it. Why are you lowering it? Why are you lowering the price if you're not desperate to sell? Why are you leaking out to your little allies that you don't want to sell, but you're lowering the price? Because you're liars. The only way Ineos can prove they're telling the truth is by hitting February the 4th and Garnacho is still at Man United. If he goes and we know the price, they're liars, which I think they are. What's difference with Ineos? New boss, same as the old boss, says Chris. If Garnacho is sold, Ineos out, says Ants. Dennis says, in reality, Rashford is meeting with Barcelona to discuss lending them some of his comedic wage so they can register Olmo, then coming home for the paycheck. That's from Dennis. Sources close to United say Sir Jim has offered the Cash Converters employee 300k contract for his fast service regarding a new TV, says Kofi. Evening all, health is wealth, says Gary. Thank you very much for that. Appreciate it. Gary, hope you're doing well. Mark, if we get Osman, who is providing the service, says Dino. One moment. I didn't even know we were getting Osman. Look, look, what I will say is, before we move on to the Dorgu story, is there's no way when Garnacho gets sold, you're just going to be sat there depressed and moaning. There will be a sweetener. There'll be a sweetener. What that sweetener is going to be could be Kuna, although apparently he wants to go to Arsenal. I got a message from someone today saying, you know, all this Kuna talk you're on about, I really wouldn't get your hopes up. It's Arsenal. It could be Osman as part of the deal, I suppose, but where's the service going to come from? But all I'll say is keep an eye on the price. The price is where it's going to be. United 65 says he's nowhere near 75 million. I mean, look, I can respect your opinion, but you're wrong. You're wrong. How can Branthwaite be worth 75 million and Garnacho isn't? Follow the market, mate. Just because you hate the player, why do you have to be so bitter? Follow the market. £55 million for Mason Mount with a year left on his contract. 75 million they wanted for Branthwaite. Follow the market. The Premier League is the best league in the world. They're buying a 20-year-old from the Premier League, from Manchester United, who's an Argentinian international, who is a goal scorer and creator. The market dictates he's £75 million in a January transfer market with numerous years left on his contract. Every requirement of a transfer is ticked. Potential, ability, proven, young, long contract, international, tick, 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 tick. You can't sell him for £55 million. You can't. You literally cannot do it. It has to be a minimum of 75. But no, he's not worth that because I think he's shit. Yeah, come on. As I said, look, give me a... look, I'm just going to say this. Why don't we fucking sell Delo for 40 million? Like, if we sell Delo, we've got Mazraoui, we can get Dorgu in. Look, why... I don't want Delo to necessarily go, but I don't necessarily think he's got a future either. Why is that? Why are we selling a player that might end up being really, really good? Why don't we sell a player that actually apparently there's interest in, that actually has had numerous years at the club? Grealish cost 100 million as well, says Anders. Yeah, good one. Anyway, let me talk to you about Dorgu because there's a lot to get into tonight. So this is the latest on Dorgu. I sense there's not a lot of excitement around Dorgu, by the way. I mean, I know when we've been linked to players and I know when people are excited, and I don't sense... well, actually, there's no need to sense it. Let's run a poll on it. Here we go. Are you excited? Are you excited by a Dorgu deal? I don't sense there is. But look, Manchester United's offer for Dorgu currently does not exceed 30 million euros plus 5 million in bonuses. Lecce for now have not accepted the offer and are waiting for a higher bid. I mean, I find that incredible. I'm not going to repeat what I said this morning because I know a lot of you watch the shows, but mate, he's not really broken through at Lecce yet. I know he plays every week, but, you know, it's Lecce in the Italian league. He's 20. Like, you cannot be demanding 30 million euros on what grounds? Oh, it's the January transfer window and Man United are desperate. Well, all right, I want 100 million for Garnacho then. So you can't drop the price of an asset and overpay on another asset. You're either playing hardball or you're not. And we can't pay that. So we'll have to walk away and then we won't have a left back. And this is the position we've left ourselves in though. You know, because can we walk away? People say walk away and do what? This is what happens when a football club is run badly, because you're not wrong to say walk away. But if you walk away, we don't have a left back. And that is why when we've been discussing not having a left back for 18 months, it's not just not having a left back for 18 months. It's also when you try and get a left back, everyone knows you haven't got a left back. So you end up getting ripped off. Can we walk away? Probably not. Are we going to overpay? Probably. But that's because we're run badly. And I'm sure Sir Jim Radcliffe's like, why is it that we overpay? Because you're running the club wrong, mate. This should have been done in the summer, in a better market, where everyone else is doing business. You know, doing this in January isn't ideal. You will overpay a little bit, and people know you're desperate. If this was the summer, we would probably get him for about 20 million euros. But because it's January, halfway through a season, and we're desperate, and we're 10 points off relegation, this is just knocking the price up and up and up. And as somebody said this morning, if this was Brighton, he'd probably be going for 12 million pounds. But because it's Man United in January, and we haven't got a left back, it's triple the price. 57% of you aren't excited. I like the player. I like the type of deal. I hate the price. And this is something I would say about Ineos that is really annoying me. The price we're looking to sell Garnacho, the price we're looking to buy Dorgu for, the price Rashford's going to go for, and how much of his wages we're going to pay. It just, you know what? I was thinking about this earlier. I feel like Barcelona a couple of years ago. I feel like we're pulling levers all over the place and kicking the problem down the road. And at some point, it's going to really screw us over. It feels like we just take that money, even if it's not much, spend it there, even if we're overpaying. It's all it's desperate, isn't it? You know, underpricing our assets, overpaying on other people's assets. And if it doesn't work, we'll end up doing it again in 6 months. And where does the money come from then? You know, all right, you sell Garnacho for undervalue. You bring in Dorgu and somebody else and you overpay for them. All the money's gone again. In the summer, you need to do it again. Right, who can we sell now? And that's what worries me. Who do we sell next? There was a story that came in today about Chelsea, saying that Chelsea are seriously considering bidding for Garnacho. They also want Mainu, but they can't do that until the summer. And you think about it, you go, well, if Garnacho's now, and that brings money in, maybe it will be Mainu in the summer. I can't see any reason why Mainu won't be next in the summer. Once they've done it once, why would you not do it again? Yeah. Absolute disgrace. This has to be the worst decision I've ever come across. Spent a fortune on the likes of Anthony and let players go on a free, dropping values in pure desperation, says Slow Sports News. Hope you're doing well. You have some nice balls back there, says Meme Lord. Thank you, pal. How are Ineos getting away with all this, says Chan? Because there's nothing anyone wants to do. It's got to be Jim out, charity for old players, and the first victim of that cut was Dennis Law's family. If the stories are true about funeral help, says Dale McDonald. Well, I don't know anything about that, but that's a disgrace if true. Kvaratskhelia went to PSG for 60 million. Garnacho must be less, says Gary83 UK. No, mate, because you haven't done your homework, have you? You haven't done your homework. How many years did Kvaratskhelia have on his Napoli contract? I think he had about 18 months left on it. So, I'm just trying to look at it here. Yeah, his contract was basically nearly up. It's a different scenario. I hope Napoli don't want Garnacho on instalments, as Rob Always United. Anyway, it's not... this is, you have to argue this point because transfer fees are not always simplistic, are they? What about Kylian Mbappe going to Real Madrid for free? Oh, maybe we should give Garnacho to Napoli for free then because Mbappe's better than Garnacho. It's always about age, contract, situation. And Napoli wanted to sell Kvaratskhelia to PSG because he wanted to go and they wanted to get some money in, and obviously they saw an opportunity with Garnacho. And our board think we'll be competing in 2028. And I think the overarching thing is as well, it's symbolic. I keep saying this and I've said it for ages. There are people out there that just want to make it about what they think about Garnacho. I don't want him at the club. I don't care what we get. Any money's good. Fine. Absolutely fine. But I've come back with, and many people would agree with me, that this is symbolic. We've never done this. We have never been a club that acts like an Everton and sells young players for profit so that we can spend it elsewhere. We've never been sell to buy. We've sold players, Beckham's, Ronaldo's, but we've done that because we've got our use out of them and they want to go somewhere else and we get a lot of money for them, or we don't want them anymore. We've never been a club what we are is a football club that nurtures and provides a pathway for young players. We're shitting all over that. Where's the pathway for young players if on that pathway we'll sell you off for profit? Think of it like it's like raising cattle, isn't it? You know, we've got a reputation for looking after them, feeding them, you know, providing them with, you know, a good life and a good place to, you know, progress. And we've got that reputation and we've always had that reputation. But now, no, we're not going to do that. We might just sell you to anybody. We might just sell you to the highest bidder. And that's what we've basically become. And I think it's symbolic. We've never been that. That's not what Man United is. And I don't want Man United to be that. I don't want to think about Shea Lacey coming through or Obi Martin coming through and, you know, they have a couple of years where they're starting out and then, you know, they get to 20 and Arsenal come along and you go, well, we've sold him. I never would have thought that until 6 weeks ago. I've never seen it in my entire life as a United fan. If Paul Scholes is coming through, if Marcus Rashford is coming through, any player coming through, I'd always be safe in the knowledge that we don't sell our young players. They will realise their potential here. Whether they do or not doesn't always happen, but we won't sell them. And now we are. And then when we do it once, I'll never feel secure again. So any young player that's in the team, you'll be going, well, we sell young players. We might do it for money. Rafiq says, I see it as good business. Well, I don't see you as a Manchester United fan, mate, because you clearly don't know what this football club's meant to be. So I don't see it as good business at all. But some of you probably agree. I don't see football as business. I see football as something that unites people, that, they give their life to, that they're passionate about and they want to believe in. I don't see Manchester United as a fucking Excel spreadsheet. But well done, Rafiq, if you do. I don't see my football club as a business. I see it being run like a business, and I've seen it being run like a business for fucking 20 years. But I don't see Manchester United as a business. I don't. I see Manchester United as the club that I fell in love with because my granddad was in love with it. And, people like the Busby Babes, Sir Matt Busby, George Best, Dennis Law, Sir Bobby Charlton, Brian Robson, Roy Keane, Sir Alex Ferguson, the class of 92. I don't see this great football club as a business. So I don't look at players as assets that we can make profit on before they realise what they're meant to be. I see this football club as more than a business. I see it as iconic. I see it as a way of life. I see it as a family. I see it as something I want to believe in. And I don't believe in it at the moment. I actually think it is being run like a business. And it sickens me. And I think it sickens a lot of people because that's what happens when you're run by people who don't give a shit about the football side of things. They are just people that are here to leech and, destroy for their own profit. Sad. Very, very sad. Could be Collier next. Yeah. Red, I basically, you're not wrong. If somebody comes in and offers 30 million for Collier, they'll take it. Why wouldn't they? Once you've done it once, you can do it again. It's not only Everton that sell players for profit. City, oh, here we go. Here we go. Pratt of the night. Star-Lord says, it's not only Everton that sell players for profit. City sold Palmer, Arsenal sold Smith Rowe, and Chelsea sold Gallagher. They're all better than us. I cannot believe the justification of what you are trying to do. So Man City sold Cole Palmer when they were 13th in the league, and he was one of their better players, did he? No. Man City sold Cole Palmer because there was no pathway to the first team. They were winning titles all the time, and he wanted to play first team football. It's amazing what agenda-driven prats will do to make it work. If I've heard Liverpool sold Coutinho, and now look at them. I mean, what's that got to do with anything? Coutinho was into his mid-20s. And Barcelona wanted to pay what was the equivalent of £200 million. There is no comparison to what Man United are about to do. We're about to sell one of our better players to raise money, and we're about to sell them undervalue and when they haven't reached their potential. Bottom line. Watch Dorgu often and can say Garnacho is a better prospect, says Enrique. If Havertz's price was 65 million, Garnacho is 75. But if we're selling cheap, we should get 50% sell-on clause and first refusal, otherwise jog on. I mean, that's an interesting point from Senior. Do you think we actually will get a sell-on clause of any substance? Mikey says, I'd take the 55 million if they include Osman. Seems fair to me. I'm so bored of the Rashford saga, says Goldie Oats. So Jim is a joke. We're relegation fodder. Worst season ever. Now selling our best players for a few bob. Shambles. And Wembley of the North, you're having a laugh, says John Donnelly. And Dorgu feels like a Darmian type signing from a smaller Serie A club. Not that exciting. Plus jump to the Prem might be too much. I like Dorgu. I do like Dorgu. I might be in the minority, but I do. I think it's the right sort of signing. I just hate the price, as I said. I'm not Player FC, says Miles, but if we sold Garnacho and Maino, I'd be so done. Bright futures at the club just being thrown out the window to balance the books. And our board think we'll be competing in 2028, says Dan Davey. And I hope Napoli don't want Garnacho. I've done that one from Rob, Always United as well. Thanks for everyone who's tuning in, by the way. Slightly earlier show tonight because we are going to be on That's Football for Champions League watch-along tonight. But obviously, there's a lot going on with United at the moment. There's 3 stories. There's the Garnacho story, there's the Rashford story, and there's the Dorgu story. There is this other story that we're looking at another player. I hope and think it should be Cunha, but have been informed that whilst Cunha wants out of Wolves, it is actually Arsenal that is the move he wants to make. So I don't think that's something United are in for, but you never know. You never know. There are, look, Matt Hargreaves, the Director of Football negotiations, has been in discussing with Lecce's board today. This has been filmed by Demartio.com, so that has definitely happened. There is also talk that Chelsea are expected to submit an offer for Garnacho in the coming days as well. Well, hopefully Chelsea put an offer up higher, don't they? But then the problem, I mean, what do you do in that situation if, you know, Napoli want to pay 55 million euros, but then Chelsea come in and offer 60 million pounds, which is 65 million euros? It's still undervalued. Do you take the Chelsea offer or do you take the Napoli offer? I was thinking about that this afternoon. All Chelsea have got to do is go 5-10 million over Napoli's. They're still getting Garnacho for cheap. And what do you do then? What do you do if Napoli go, we can only pay 55 million euros? And then Chelsea go, well, we'll give you 60 million pounds, 65 million euros. Let's keep it in euros. Well, in normal circumstances, you'd take the higher bid, but then you're selling him to a Premier League club for the same that they gave us Mason Mount for. Maybe you'd have to go with the cheaper bid. I mean, they're both cheap, in my opinion. We've had a Fabrizio Romano tweet. I'm just about to get it for you now. Lecce president has said, we met with Manchester United and we told them our plan is to keep our key players, including Dorgu. We're delighted to have Man United here to make a proposal, but our target to stay in Serie A is crucial. I mean, what are we doing? The fuck are we doing? What are we doing having David Ornstein yesterday tell the world we want Dorgu? Then we fly over there after that, have a chat with them, and they tell us, thanks for coming, but we want to keep him. I mean, what are we doing? What's this? No, don't, no. I've got it the wrong way around. What's this? Can you let anybody know that if they're planning to go to the circus anytime in the next few months, you'll be very disappointed because all the clowns are working at Old Trafford? Okay. I mean, we are running the best circus in the world, aren't we? I mean, what football club tells the world they want Dorgu, because Ornstein's been told by someone, before you've even done a deal, and then you fly over to Italy and they tell you they're not selling him? I mean, Greta Thunberg's going fucking mad. Just wasted a bloody flight. I can't speak, mate. I can't speak. Unbelievable. You know what? You know what proper football clubs do? They speak to the selling club. They speak to the player. They sort a fee out and they agree a deal before it hits the press. What do Man United do? They tell the press before they do a deal. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. This is just, it gets worse. It gets bloody worse. Wow. That's from Fabrizio. So Jim says, we're going to sell the next Mbappe, says Christian. Club's unsustainable, rebuild every few years. 1.6 billion spent in 10 years on 55 players. 450 million recouped from 77 players. Plus we owe 200 million from previous deals. Any wonder we're broke, says Shane. But you know what? Every time people break it down like that, and I've got no reason to not believe you're right, but any time people break it down like that, you know what I think? Why did Sir Jim Ratcliffe buy this football club? Why did he do it? If he cares about it, why did he do it? You know, I feel like even if we take it on face value that he does care about Manchester United, it would be like me and somebody saying, remember your childhood home? It's rotting, it's crumbling, and if it doesn't get major investment, it's going to get ruined. And it's like me going, okay, I'm borrowing money, I'm going to do this, I'm going to get hold of it, and then I get hold of it, and I can't do anything to fix it because I haven't got any money left because I borrowed the money. But whilst doing that, there was someone else with loads of money that was going to buy it and restore it. Why did I bother? Yes, I love the house, but I haven't got any money to do anything with it when I get it. I should have just let the people buy it who were going to fucking rebuild it properly with their own money. And that's what I don't understand about Sir Jim Ratcliffe. Yes, it's probably a vanity project. Yes, maybe he does care about Man United, but he's got no money to do it. And I don't understand why he's done it. I don't. And to be fair, nearly 18 months on, we still haven't been told what he's doing. All we know is he wants to put the Manchester back into Manchester United and build a Wembley of the North. But there is no communication. There is no strategy. There is just cut after cut after cut after cut. I'm starting to see the resemblance between Freddy Krueger and Sir Jim Ratcliffe. In fact, if somebody hasn't done an AI-generated Sir Jim Ratcliffe and Freddy Krueger, you've missed out on an absolute viral tweet. I should have kept that to myself. I can see him there in his red and green jumper and his garden claws. I mean, that's all he's good at, cuts. But, you know, that's the only strategy I can see. Maybe he isn't in the manager's plans, so they've agreed with Kenny, stop being so naive. If a player's not in the manager's plans, you don't sell them on the cheap. And also, I'm getting really tired, and I think intelligent people are getting really tired of people going, he wants to leave, he's not in the manager's plans. Because David Ornstein, Fabrizio Romano, and every other credible journalist at the start of January briefed from the club that Mainu and Garnacho and every other player was available for transfer as long as the right price came in. And still people are trying to push that Garnacho walked in and handed in a transfer request. They put him up for sale and now they're going to sell him on the cheap. And you're going to see just how cheap very, very soon. Anyway, look, I've got to get off because I've got to get over to the Champions League watch along on That's Football. You're welcome to join me. I'm going to be live there in 5 minutes. I get the feeling we might be back live again tonight around 10 o'clock. So just keep that in mind. Another fantastic show tonight. I will be over on That's Football, trying to avoid high blood pressure. Georgie says, Mark's very salty about Garnacho leaving. No, mate, I'm not. And I don't think you're a Man United fan. And I can't do anything about that because it's YouTube. But this is a United fan channel. And it's there for the majority of people who actually care about the club and see what's happening to it. I couldn't give a shit whether this is Garnacho or Mainu or Collier or Obi Martin. The name doesn't matter. It's symbolically what we're doing, stripping assets that we should be keeping and building around. That is my big issue. And then to do it on the cheap, I'd be fuming if we sold Garnacho for 75 million. But to do it on the cheap, I just think is incredible to me. Edward Scissorhands owns Man United, says Daniel Starr. Sir Jim Scissorhands. Right, thanks everyone for watching. I will see you later. Take care.